Hello, this is part 3 of creating a 2D platformer in Unity. I think the last time we were here we did waterfall, so we did animated tiles, tile maps and sort of tile map terrain as well. I haven't really improved much since I was last here, but what you can do is ensure that kind of your whole level is done and dusted. So remember, this is only our camera view. Everywhere else you can now still begin to build your level, and make sure that you do that. Draw it out first, sketch it out, write down what kind of bits that you'd like to put into it later and stuff like that, and then we can create everything else that is here. So this is only a camera view. You can create a whole world around this if you make this the start of your level, for example, and then continue on. That would be awesome. So today what we're going to look at is adding colliders to things. So that's, for argument's sake, let's say that all my level is done and finished. I will eventually get there, but for now I want to start looking and thinking about my player. So what I'm going to do is adding colliders to my ground, and this is really important for the reason that we want our player to land on it, get it out the way so we don't have to add this in later, but as I recommend, build the whole of your level first before doing this. So I'm going to probably have to remove these components and then add on my there we go, add on my colliders for my terrain. So first thing I'm going to do is click on my ground underscore tile map, and make sure you name everything, otherwise it's going to become really confusing. And what I'm going to do is go to a component and add a tile map collider 2D, as you can see there. So what I'm going to do is hit that. Fantastic. So as you can see, this has in my scene view added blocks of colliders all around my terrain, including some blocks there as well. Hasn't really added it to that. We can sort that out, do not worry. Oh, but it's added the, oh, you can kind of see it. If you zoom in, there we go. We've got the colliders around the rocks as well. Okay, awesome. So, but the thing is, it's created a block around every single sprite. Here, it doesn't really matter, all of this area around here. So what we're going to do is clear that. So we're going to go to add another component within our inspector. And this one is going to be called, there we go, composite. There we go, composite collider 2D. And that will automatically also add a rigid body 2D. In order for this to work, we need to, a rigid body needs to be added, so it just automatically adds it. Okay, so what we're going to do is make sure that all of our terrain is static. It's not going to move anywhere or do anything. So if you do have kind of floating islands and you want those to kind of float, don't add this, just add the tile collider 2D. So what we're going to do with this is have a look at rigid body. I'm going to make sure that my body type is, at the moment it's dynamic. I'm going to change that to static. Cool. And then on my tile map collider 2D, there we go, I'm going to make sure, because I've added my composite collider 2D, I'm going to make sure that it's using it. So I'm going to use by composite. So if I put check on there, as you can see, it's taken away all of those separate colliders, but still it's kept, if we have a look, kept the collider just on the outside of that terrain. And that is awesome. course, even added a little bit of dents around there for the grass and stuff like that. That's really, really cool. So I'm happy with that. So that's how we add colliders to our static terrain. Okay, so you might see in a lot of Unity games or 2D games, it doesn't have to be Unity, kind of a parallax effect happening. So what's doing there is almost like it's separating the layers like we've done. So one is moving slower than the other, creating a feeling of depth. So you can do this within Photoshop as well by using the animation tools, but you can also do this in Unity by using this perspective camera. So what we need to do with that is look at our main camera, and what we need to do is look at what our camera is doing at the moment. At the moment our projection is orthographic. What we can, if we change this to perspective, we can see, did that even change anything? Kind of within our view, didn't it? So there we go, it kind of pushed out our view a little bit. I've kind of quite a fair bit zoomed in. So with our perspective view, it will change all of the tile map depths on the z-axis. So hopefully it should, if we kind of position ourselves along, it should, so I might need some more elements in the background to kind of create this perspective effect. I'm trying to create the, so our depth at the moment is -1. Oh, okay, so let's change the depth to, so it's -10 here on our main camera. So if we change the depth of our background tile map elements on the z-axis, that should sort us out. So what's in the background? So clouds, which I haven't got at the moment, so it doesn't really matter. Our sky, so at the moment it's all at 1. So if I change this to -1, that may help our camera tracking. Really, I probably might need some other elements in there. Let's see if I can change this to, what happens if I change that to 2? Go back onto my camera. Cool, I'll come back to that perspective thing. So I think we might need some more elements in the background to kind of create that perspective view. Or maybe if I press play, and then, no, nothing yet. Maybe I need some clouds or something in there. I'll add some clouds and we'll have a look at that in the next tutorial. Okay, so for now we can just change this back to orthographic and we'll sort out that parallax view a little bit later on. So what we're going to do is start looking at our character, which is probably the most important part of any kind of 2D game. Hopefully we're going to help add in a health system, enemies, and some collectibles to this tutorial as we keep going along. So that all comes from our character. So I did download some bits and bobs from, let's click. There we go. So these are really small. I can't even zoom in on here, can I? So I've downloaded these really kind of small dinosaur assets. They may be totally wrong, but they're just a quick find. Essentially is what I wanted to do. So what I'm going to do with this is just like cutting our terrain to create a tile map, we now need to create a sprite sheet for our player. So we need to cut this like we did with our tile map. So what we're going to do, just like before, go to sprite mode. From single, go to multiple, click apply. Once we've done that, we're going to open sprite editor. Then in sprite editor, we're going to click down on slice, And before we went to grid by cell size. We don't need that. For this, as you can see, this is a PNG. There is no background. Unity should be smart enough to figure out to cut round just the objects that have art around them, because the kind of the checkered background means there is no background. So if we keep this at automatic, click slice, this should, if we zoom in, there we go, cut each individual sprite on our small little dinosaur there. Once that's done, we can click apply, and that just tells us the size and positioning of our sprites. That's fine. Or maybe I could have changed the size actually, but we'll see what we can do for now. So once we have done that, what I'm going to do is click down here, and you can see we now have, oh, they are quite small, individual sprites going on with our dinosaur. So what I'm going to do is click and drag in. Let's just drag it into our scene. Whoa, they're way tiny. Look at that little guy. So our tiny little dinosaur, and let's change that to scale. And let's just scale this up for now. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to change that little dude. But for now, I'm just going to position him there. And as you can see, he's behind the layers. So what I'm going to do is rename this to just sprite. And then I'm going to change my order of layer. Like I had with my grids, I had 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. I'm going to actually change this to something around, let's say, 20. The reason for that is that I always want my character in front of everything. If it's collectibles or anything like that, just make it in front of it. Because I don't want to add loads of different tile maps, loads of different scenery, skies, clouds, water, sea, terrain, and everything like that, and then lose my character within that. So I'm going to make sure that he's always at the front by putting the order of layer at 20. Okay, so now he's at 20. He's at the front of everything, so it can make him look like he's standing there. Cool. Next thing I'm going to do is create an empty object. And then with that empty object, I'm going to call this player. Oh, I spelled that wrong, so let's quickly change that. So player, enter, lovely. I'm then going to parent my sprite with player. And the reason I'm doing this is that we need to get an order of things, because we've got a health system, a collect system, enemy system, and all of those different things react or interact with our player. We're going to make sure that our sprite is totally on its own. So if, just like I said, I don't really like the dinosaur, it looks blurry, I want to change it. If I just keep this, I can just swap out. So say if I have a load of different empty objects to do with collecting items, health systems and stuff like that, at any time I can just go to this sprite, swap that out, and it doesn't affect everything else. So this is a really good system to start. Keep this just as an empty object, and then we can have different empty objects parented just to player as we go on with this kind of system. Okay, cool. So if you are following along with these tutorials, which I hope you are, just make sure two things: finish your level, or just create the level as much as you can. Don't make it too complicated. It's just a kind of nice tutorial. Get the player to understand the movements, the collectible system, and the jumping. So make sure there could be a couple of jump challenges in there. Finish your level, and also get those sprites cut out as well for your character. So if you do find some sprites and there's like an idle animation, a death animation, walking, running, jumping, you're going to want to have them all cut out already for the next tutorial. Okay. I hope this is a short but sweet, but I hope this has been quite helpful. We'll also look at that parallax effect as well, get some clouds in the background and start making it shift a little bit slower in the background to create depth within our 2D game. Cool. I'll see you later, and enjoy building your 2D level.